possible, you know?
That's weird. It was delayed. But so the show that you have in Pittsburgh coming up, I clicked through and it says TBA. Do you know where you're playing yet?
So we're still booking that venue actually, so we'll be
Okay.
posting about that more details probably in the next couple days.
Okay. And the date's March 7th coming up in a couple weeks.
Yes, March 7th, yes, in
Cool.
Pittsburgh.
So I'm going to do my best to get there. I'm going to be
Yeah,
leaving
we hope
Monsters of
so.
Rock cruise that morning, so we'll see how
Yeah.
flights go to get me back here to
Oh
Pittsburgh.
yeah. Hey,
But
well, right, that should be a good time out there.
yeah, so is it a headlining show for you guys, or are you playing with other bands here?
Yeah, so we're doing a headline tour. We just announced a new single actually last month. It's called Now That We Both Know. It's on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming platforms. But
Okay.
we're going on a tour. We're calling it the same name, Now That We Both Know Tour. And we're actually doing a headline run and have a couple special stops in between. We're playing some shows with the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and Adelita's Way. And then we're throwing in some 80s bands as well, some King's X and Enough's Enough, one of my personal favorites actually.
Yeah. I've heard those guys love you too. I just
Uh,
made a visit to say hi to them on Monday. They were here in town playing with Bad Marriage, and unfortunately, it was one of those moments where I had to pick where I was going to be. John 5 was playing the same night, but I made sure I stopped over to say hello to everybody. And they were down in Florida with us at Rock Island as well, and I'll see them on Monsters of Rock cruise in a couple weeks. So I figured John 5 was the show to hit since I hadn't seen him solo in several years. So we wanted to get that coverage up.
I'm sure that was another good show right there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard that both shows went really well for a Monday night after the Super Bowl. So kudos
Yeah.
to everybody for getting
Monday
out.
night. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you guys got started. And for those who don't know, you and your brother are twins. So that's kind of fun that, I'd love to know what's the best way to tell the two of you apart, because it's always fun to interview twins. And
Right.
you could totally trick me. Like I was supposed to interview Gunnar Nelson once, and Matthew called me, and I said, I wouldn't have known I wasn't talking to Gunnar
No.
on the phone.
And
How
those
would I
guys, they
know?
were dead on it, like the Nelson
Yeah.
guy. Oh yeah.
And over the phone, I had no idea. And he told me that they really don't trick people with that. Have you and your brother ever tried to play games with people of pretending to be
Oh,
the other?
always. We've been doing it since we were young, since we were in school. Always. And we probably get asked a million times a day, hey, are you guys twins? And we're like, no, we have to have some fun with it now after all these years, you know? But yeah, it's definitely it has its ups and downs being in a band with your brother, but at the end of the day, we love it. You know, I wouldn't change it for the world. Just with that bond, the chemistry the two of us have. We've been doing this for 9 years now, and it's a good time. You know, we have a lot of fun doing what we do.
Cool. And I know I can tell you apart for now because you have a little bit of different hair. So that's usually
Right.
the deciding factor. But
Yeah, that's probably the biggest part. The
and
hair.
of
Yeah.
course what instruments you're playing. So you're fronting the band and your brother's playing drums. I've heard that you've brought in other people to the band as well. So is it always just been the two of you on everything you record, or do you work with other people? Do you play multiple instruments when you're recording your songs?
Yeah, so it's just me and my brother. We've been doing that for, like I said, 9 years now. We've had a couple lineup changes in the beginning, but over
Okay.
the last couple years, we've been really doing something different, you know, as twin brothers. I sing, play guitar, and I play bass at the same time. And then my brother plays drums. We're right up front, you know, side by side
Yeah.
at the front of the stage. And we just try to do something different, you know, a lot of people don't see. You know, there's different two pieces out there, but the fact that we're twin brothers, we really push that and we just go out there and do the twin thing, you know, just two of us.
It's very cool, and like it's very high energy, which is really what I think is the most memorable thing about your show is that you know um, you come out strong and there's lots of energy when you're performing, and there's definitely that twin dynamic. And I think it's the first time I've ever seen somebody come out as a two-piece like that, and have such a full band effect. And it's interesting because John 5 actually is doing that now. He's playing guitar and playing bass and has a drummer. So
Okay, yeah, I didn't hear about that.
that's new
Last
for
time
his.
I saw, I think he had a bass player and a
Yes.
guitar player. I can't
He
remember.
had
It's
a
been
bass player the last time I saw him, and now it's just him and a drummer, and he has his tech filling in on bass for some of the Motley Crue jams.
hey,
But
that works.
he did a bass solo and stepped away from the guitar, but essentially they were a two-piece band, and that reminded me of how you guys come out with just the two piece. So it's kind of interesting.
Uh,
I bet it makes it easier to, to tour with just the two of you in the van or whatever,
yeah,
room for more stuff.
that's definitely that part. Yeah, just the two of us in the van. We got a couple crew members that come out with us as well. But yeah, we really just we have fun, just touring and traveling the world. We've been out on multiple headline tours. We've gotten to share stages with some of our favorite bands over the years, and we're just grateful to be doing what we do. And like I said, we have a lot of fun doing it.
Awesome. So what got you started? Was there any particular moment that inspired you that said, we should start a band? Or did your
Right.
parents just hand you instruments and say, go entertain yourselves?
Right. So I don't know if you can see this poster right behind me.
Uh-huh.
It's
I
called
do.
Aerosmith. It started everything from my brother and I. They
Okay.
actually have a ride at Disney in Orlando at Disney World at
Yeah.
Hollywood Studios. It's called Rock and Roller Coaster starring
Mhm.
Aerosmith. And we were young. We were probably like 9, 10. We were really, really young. And we went on that ride for the first time and it just opened our eyes. And it wasn't just the music, it was something about the five guys in the band, Steven, Joey, Tom, Brad, and Joe. They
Okay.
really just changed our lives and just something about it was magic. And at that moment, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, okay, we're going to do this for the rest of our lives. And here we
Very.
are 9 years later. But yeah, we definitely owe it all to those guys in Aerosmith, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've been on that coaster and I've also had to wait for my older daughter to go on the coaster because her sister wasn't tall enough. And so
Ooh,
we heard the music over and over and over again. And I went shopping and bought an Aerosmith purse. And,
I
but
love it.
going on the coaster definitely is different than just sitting listening to the music. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
very cool
Big.
ride.
And you
So
got Aerosmith blasting in your ears. You just,
yes, it's
it's
like an immersive experience. So that's a cool way to get introduced to Aerosmith.
exactly. So, yeah, that's kind of what started it for us, that roller coaster right there.
Awesome. Have you had a chance to see them live?
Oh yeah, we've seen them a bunch of times over the years. When they did their Peace Out tour a couple months ago, obviously it only
Yeah.
lasted a few days because Steven and his vocal issues, unfortunately. But
Right.
we were planning to follow the tour around. We went to the first couple shows, Pittsburgh actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got to talk to the guys. We ran into Steven one night in Philly, and they're just
Nice.
great guys. The stuff you hear about them is true. They're just really cool guys. They give you the time, and they're appreciative. They really are.
Very cool. I have not had the opportunity to meet them, but I have had the opportunity to photograph them. And I didn't
Yeah.
have credentials for that Pittsburgh show, but I took my daughter and we had floor seats and
Oh,
it
okay.
was awesome. And I'm really glad that we went because it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. And I wouldn't
Right.
have imagined the tour was going to get stopped. So I'm
I
glad
don't
that we
think
got to
anybody
see.
expected that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking at my wall of drumsticks and I've got a Joey Kramer stick right there at the top that he handed me at
Do
a
you
show
really?
many years ago. So
Okay, what tour was that? Do you know?
it was a Nine Lives tour.
Oh, Nine Lives. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very cool memento. He walked over and put it in my hand. So I was,
Oh man, that's really legendary right there.
yeah,
And it sucks, Joey, he's our guy and he's not in the band anymore. He technically is, but he's not playing drums with them. And it sucks not to see him back up there on the drums anymore.
for sure. So tell me how you guys got involved with Rock Island Fest since we just were all there. And, you have a really cool job keeping everybody entertained at the Smoke and Tuna.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed. I made it over there as much as I could this year to see the daytime activity around the festival and so much support from fans coming out early in the day to hang out and listen to live music and new bands.
Right.
So curious how you guys ended up working with that festival.
Right. So actually the first year of Rock Island 2 years ago, we just went as fans. We went to hang out. We're
Yeah.
fans of a lot of the bands too, a lot of the 80s hair bands. Besides Aerosmith, that's our favorite genre, me and my brother.
Okay.
We love the Motley Crues, the Poisons, Bullet Boys, Rat, all
Hmm.
those bands. But the first year of Rock Island, we went as fans, we were hanging out, and we kind of just made the connection with everybody and we got invited to play the second year. And then we played this past year as well. So we played there the last 2 years, and it's just been a
Yep.
great experience, great people working there, and just lots of love for our Rock Island family, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I've been there all 3 years as well. And I started like you did as a fan the first year. They weren't sure how they were going to handle media credentials. And so I just went down with some friends to hang out and see what it was all about. And came back last year, covered the festival, and again this year. And It's been
Mhm.
some really cool experiences. I mean, Vince Neil was hanging out this year, right? And we all got to get our photo ops with Vince
Yeah, that was crazy.
and watch him sing with Lit, which I know, made those guys ecstatic, even though they're
Mhm.
friends, getting up and watching them do Smoking in the Boys Room with Steve Brown from Trickster and Vince Neil was pretty
Steve,
cool.
great guy. Yeah, we played some shows with Trickster. Love those guys. PJ, Steve, and Ben. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't say enough good things about that festival, working it, how everyone treats you, and it's just such a nice environment. So definitely
Right.
better than the snow in Pittsburgh. So I
Yeah.
like getting
You
away
can't,
there in January.
yeah, Key West in January. Yeah, you just can't beat that.
Yeah,
No.
everyone's like, what was the weather like? I'm like, if it's in the 60s and 70s versus 7 degrees here, I will take it.
Yeah,
So
I would take that too any day.
yeah. And you guys are Florida based, but I know you've been touring all around and hitting the cold spots in the middle of winter. So I'm sure you.
Yeah, and we're not used to that. We're Florida boys, so when we're up in that cold, it's cold. You know, I bring
Yeah.
my road on the road with us. We got blankets and stuff, just try to keep us warm. You know, out on the road.
Yeah, 60 and 70, that's like sweatshirt weather. And I know when my family comes up from Florida, they want to know where the winter coat is when it's 60 degrees
Yeah,
out. And I'm like, I'm putting shorts on and going for a run.
right, exactly.
So, well, tell me more about what music and is available to fans. You mentioned the new single. You guys have albums available, physical albums, CDs anymore, or is everything streaming services? Where can people learn more about you?
Okay, so yeah, we actually do. We still do the CDs.
All
So
right.
yeah, we got an online store with a bunch of our merch, and we got all of our music on there as well. But we have our music, like I said, on the all streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We put out a debut EP back in 2020, and then we just released our last single last month, and we got plans to release a bunch more singles this year, leading up to a full length album.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much for spending the time with me today. Tell
Oh,
us
thank
what your
you.
website is. Is it just your band name or is it something fancy?
Yes, just KamenarOfficial.com. You can
Awesome.
find everything on there from tour dates to merch to where we're going to be to news and updates. It's all on there on CamenarOfficial.com.
Okay. And what about your social? Is it Kamenar official as well? Or
Yes, and
yeah,
you can find us on Instagram at Kamenar Official. We're on Facebook as well, just under Kamenar. And then TikTok, we're on there under Kamenar Official. And pretty much all the socials, you can find us on there.
perfect. I always like to ask what the real ones are because there's so many
Right,
people impersonating everybody these days. So we want to point
right,
people to the right place.
always.
Um, Hopefully I'll get to catch you guys next month. If not, I'm sure I'll see you on the road sometime soon because you make it up
Yeah,
this way a lot. And wish you the best with the tour. And
thank you.
thanks again for joining me today.
Hey, well, thank you again for your time, Kara. It was great talking to you, and hopefully we see you out on the road soon.